Yo, this is post-production Ben. I just want to say that if you're watching this video without watching the previous one, you should watch the previous one first because this one is kind of related to the other one. So if you want to have a better understanding of the context, go and check that one out first. If not, enjoy! Scientists revive cells and organs in dead pigs, and raising questions that can be treated. So I read through this article. To very quickly breeze through it, right? The way it works is scientists pump the bodies with a liquid containing the pig's own blood as well as a synthetic form of hemoglobin, and then the protein that carries oxygen. Okay, yeah. So blood starts circulating again, and many cells begin functioning, including in vital organs, right? So the cells are functioning hours after they should have been. So, in a sense, it's basically just like they managed to revive organs. And of course, if you can revive organs, I assume you can revive people. Maybe, I don't know about their consciousness, but let's say for the sake of argument, you just come back to life, straight up, right? The question that I really thought about, right, was if, let's say, and I don't even think it's going to be that far down the road, then maybe give it 30 years, for example, medical and technological advances allow you to resurrect maybe a few days after death, that kind of thing, a few weeks after death, right? How would that work? As in the first question is, would you resurrect? Like, if you had the choice, would you resurrect? Let's say
myself,
yeah,
or
yourself.
loved ones?
Let's go with ourselves first.
Okay.
Yeah, would you resurrect yourself? Just come back to life, that kind of thing.
Okay, I think without thinking very hard about it, you just ask me, okay, I'm going to resurrect you, right? I would say, for me, if it's natural cause, but towards the end stages of my life, I've accomplished what I wanted to do within societal norms is get married, have children, get a good job, get certain financial stability. I've accomplished everything that I needed to. There's nothing pressing left behind. It's not like the Avatar guy, the Avatar villain that came back to try and kill Jake Sully, right? Yeah, it's not that, right? As long as I don't have that, I think I can pass peacefully. But if after this podcast I walk down the street, I get hit by a car and die, then I think I'll still want to come back, right? But that's without thinking too hard about the ethical consequences and all those kind of things yet. But what do you think first?
Oh yeah, I agree. I think I quite enjoy life. I enjoy living at this point in time. So if I were to die now, I want to come back. But I agree. I think there's a point in time where your body stops. Okay, I think you have to clarify resurrection on. Okay, we're just assuming you come back to life in your previous state.
Yeah.
Right. You don't you're not able to renew your organs and rejuvenate your organs to a young man state. So I think in that point, if I die because my heart screwed up and they're not functioning, I have multiple organ failure, and I just come back for a few days and I'm out again. I think I wouldn't want that. Yeah, but okay, it's very interesting because if you're saying that you are able, if there's a medical procedure for resurrection, then wouldn't death just be a disease? And then the question is, should you cure that disease?
There's also a question of what is truly final, right? If death is not the ending, then what is, right?
So if death is not the ending, then I think then so then we would probably, even if we could resurrect, I think scientifically I can't imagine a world where all deaths can be resurrected. I think there will be a proportion of cases. So then you would be split it into curable death and incurable death.
Yes.
Correct. So for curable death, then do you still term it as death?
I mean, I think you can just call it death. I wouldn't think there needs to be a renaming of the phenomenon, but yeah, I mean, it's instead of thinking about death as a final thing, you might end up just thinking about death as
just getting dengue or something, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know why this is interesting?
Yes.
Because it's a strange mirror of the euthanasia argument.
No,
Because-
I was about to.
Yeah,
I was about to
because we just spent the entire time arguing about how in some cases, you shouldn't let them kill themselves. But now it's, should you let them continue living
Yes.
after that? And I just wanted to poke at you guys, whether you think that there's any like moral alarm bells with just such a thing. Or in fact, should we go about resurrecting everybody? If we're going to say that life is the most important thing, right? Why don't we just make it compulsory to resurrect?
I think your question already has answers in today's medical practices. It's just a different word. We call it resuscitation.
DNR is it?
Like a person is flatline, right? His heart stopped beating. Like if you don't do anything to this guy, he's about to die. Like he's dead, right? But you have the option of CPR and like resuscitating him, right? And like you have like about so we have about like I think like 10-20% of chance it works. But let's just say you have 100% chance it works, right? So I think in today's context, there are the doctor will consult with the family. So obviously if it's a young man, like in his 20s, 30s, and like he like is jogging and like he collapses, right? I think there's no question like the practice today would be paramedics come on the scene and the CPR and do whatever they can. But then when you go to like elderly people, right, who let's just say maybe have terminal illness, or even if they don't, like they are in a bad health condition, right? And let's just say they are warded. So I think doctors usually they will have conversations with the family, or like, do we want to resuscitate, right? So like, do we want to go all out if this patient flatlines, or do we just want to like let them leave, you know? And then like there are these conversations, and so a lot of it is also the question of I don't think it's equivalent to euthanasia, because it is not equivalent to like the passive form of euthanasia where you're withholding life support or you're withholding intervention. So I think it's a bit different, because withholding intervention is not necessarily saying that we don't value life, because I talk about like the Christian point of view that God can take it away, right? So if we withhold intervention and the person dies naturally, then the person dies.
It's natural causes.
It's natural causes, right? So, yeah.
Okay, so in that case, there's a difference, there's a difference between natural cause of death.
Correct. So, I think to say that we make resuscitation compulsory or resurrection compulsory is like a different issue to active euthanasia. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then actually that brings up a very interesting. It's like a new player, which is natural, like natural causes, because now natural causes seems to trump, let's say, the right to life. I mean, not the right to life, the sanctity of life. You get what I mean? Like I mean, do you get what I mean when I say that now it seems like we are prioritizing the natural flow of things over the sanctity of life?
I think the religious argument is like
that one's easy,
that one's very easy to
because
explain.
Natural is God's will. Yeah.
But from a non-Christian point of view, it's actually very difficult. And I think I think in like a resuscitation setting, right? Like, I don't think we necessarily go by natural causes, because natural causes can like. It's also very hard to determine what's a natural cause, right? I mean, like if I'm in my 40s and I get a bone cancer, like cancer is just a cancer. I mean, it's not like I go and like inject some carcinogens in or something like that, right? But I mean, I also wouldn't want to die even though it's like a natural cause. So like,
that's true.
I mean, to me, it's a question of stage of life that the cause of death occurs. But the whole natural and unnatural for me is actually very hard to wrap my head around, like whether or not I would offer resurrection or resuscitation.
Or actually, we have to talk about then. I think when we can change like terminology a bit, I think we are a bit fixated on the terminology. Like then it can be just active death or passive death. I mean, if you want to phrase it that way. So like if you're talking about
active death.
So what would you define as active death?
Like euthanasia is active death.
Okay,
so,
yes.
So you are doing something to end the life, compared to
Withholding treatment.
No, like compared to so the guy dies without any active measure, and the guy dies with an active measure. So I think the sanctity of life question comes into play when the person
Active, when it's active.
when it's active, because then there is an element of decision making that you are deciding that person's life should end.
Yes.
Right? So so the decision is, should I end that person's life? Whereas when we're talking about resuscitation or resurrection, you're deciding, should I try to bring the person back? Which is different because the death
Active
has already...
life. Active life.
Active life, right? So there's a distinction, right?
I think there is though. Wait, okay, keep talking.
Yeah, so the active ending of a person's life, and where the person has died already, and then you choose whether you want to bring the person back, I think it's very different. I think the difference is as vast as, like, for example, if you're walking on the road, right, and then like you're driving a car and then like you hit the person down and the person dies. That's like the active ending of a life. Or compared to like you're driving on the road and then you see the person collapse on the side of the road.
You drive past.
And you decide whether you want to drive past or resuscitate the person, right? There's a very big difference. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, I'm trying to... When I said active life, right, I got this like eureka moment, but then like I kind of lost it.
No.
As in, okay, wait. So I think the death side is easy. Active death and passive death, right?
Yeah,
so
correct.
Yeah, like you like you outlined just now. I was comparing. So then, what we were doing just now with the resurrection and resuscitation was comparing the euthanasia with resurrection, right? And saying like one is how do I say this? Like, so for euthanasia, we are...
It's the ending of life compared to the bringing back of life.
Correct. And like, for which scenario do you prioritize natural cause of death and the sanctity of life?
I think for resurrection, I can quite safely say it will be up to the patient.
Yes. No, I think that one is quite clear because I mean, like currently, if you look at, maybe not the whole resuscitation, but if you just look at the guys on life support, right? If the guy's on life support and he says, "Look, take me off," I think it's legal in Singapore, right?
It's legal.
Yeah, it's
That's
legal.
passive.
Yeah,
euthanasia,
that's
right?
passive.
That's
Yeah. So, but I mean, in some ways, this kind. Okay, I wouldn't say the same thing, but
it's like don't resuscitate me.
yeah,
right?
it's
the same
almost
as
like a don't resuscitate me situation, right? And I mean, for this, in our society, it's easy because the law says the patient can give the consent. So the question we're asking here is whether or not it should be allowed, right? Because I mean, what's the big question we're trying to answer here? The big question we're trying to answer is whether or not resurrection should be is ethically appropriate or not, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So would you still consider? Because I feel like we've gone away from this resurrection concept quite a bit. Would you still consider withdrawing of consensual withdrawing of life support treatment under resurrection? Because
wait, what?
Because we've gone from resurrection to
Wait, so what do you mean by under resurrection?
no, as in would you consider it the same thing? Like if you allow this, we allow resurrection.
Oh.
Okay, wait. Just to go back on because you asked me what the big question is, right? Actually, what I was trying to pinpoint is the moral axiom that we are basing our decisions off of,
Which is the natural cause versus the
So
of life,
for example, so let's say we take active death, for example, right? We establish that the sanctity of life is the thing that we revolve around. So if you don't prioritize sanctity of life, then you allow active death.
Yes.
But if you do, then you don't allow active
Yes.
death. So now and then we said for passive death, it's more of consent, right? Like it's down to the individual. So that's why we prioritize their consent. Therefore, we allow passive death.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So I think passive death is similar to is similar to active life. No, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, resuscitation.
Okay.
Passive
But-
death is similar to resuscitation in the sense that, like, they kind of
Yeah, I agree.
And
I-
resuscitation, we are agreeing that it's similar enough to resurrection. This big concept of resurrection. that you
Okay,
keep
let's
coming back to.
stick to resuscitation first for
Okay.
sake of argument, like
Okay.
simplicity.
I think I agree. Yeah, what you said about you can equate passive death to active life.
Okay, wait, no, let's not use
Okay,
active.
let's not
I think
use
that's damn
active.
confusing.
Okay,
Just
so you can
resuscitation.
equate passive death to passive death to resuscitation.
Mm.
In a sense that I think we can all agree that that can be solely based on the patient's choice.
Yes.
On like
Consent.
whether they if they are in that bad health condition and then they say, okay, if anything happens to me, I don't want to be resuscitated. Right? I think that can be treated equally to if a patient is on life support and he says, I don't want to be on life support. Yeah,
Okay.
in the sense that because you're not actively ending the person's life, you can respect the patient's. Like then the deciding factor would be what the patient wants.
Yeah, but then to me it makes it a bit more interesting because like when we say like okay we'll just give them consent on like whether or not to resuscitate, but then I feel like the emotional feeling to it kind of changes when it's like should we give people consent after like they die they really die and to resurrect them, right? Because we all come to a consensus that we will say give them whatever they want for resuscitation we will give. But then for resurrection is if we say like whatever they want, if they want to resurrect, don't want to resurrect, don't resurrect. I feel like the feeling it elicits is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's
right?
not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. Because I feel like they wow.
Yeah, right?
Why is it not the same?
No, I can't really pinpoint why it's not the same. I just don't feel the same about it, you know what I mean?
Okay, let me just like stir the pot a bit. So let's say resurrection is possible but it's insanely expensive.
Oh, so there's
Should
another
should
factor
it be
of
should you make it a paid procedure? That means if you don't have enough money to resurrect, then that's too bad for you. You have one shot.
But then you're just gonna have a whole bunch of 200-year-old really rich people like walking around.
No, yeah, because resuscitation right now is not about cost, right? Because
Yes.
nobody checks, oh, your bank account is too low, sorry, we won't do CPR, right?
Yeah.
You just do it, but then,
But
so
it's,
like, just to stir the pot, like, what do y'all think?
no, but it's
You know,
what
on the moral basis of charging for resurrection.
Okay, wait. I think that let me see if you agree with me on this. Let's try and take it from the perspective that resurrection, and I'll define resurrection as like coming back to life a substantial amount of time after you've died.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
We can treat it as a luxury good
Okay.
in a sense that it's like buying a luxury item lah, right? Improvement and you can take this to healthcare as well. Like let's say getting I don't know.
Okay, I think I can give you an example. For example, if you have cancer, right? Then I think you can either go the chemotherapy route or like nowadays, there are really expensive like gene therapy routes where they tailor the treatment to
Yeah.
the DNA of
No,
the tumor.
but I think that's not the same.
Okay. So,
What I meant was physical enhancement rather than so it's like let's say this baseline, right? So resuscitation would be like you went to a state of almost death and then you resuscitate to come back here. But coming back to life seems to me like a
straight
step
down.
up like that.
Okay.
Like a this is not something that you
that is normal.
like you it's not your basic right to let's say. Yeah. So in some sense since everyone has a
basic right to life.
Yeah.
But does everyone have a basic right to second
second
life?
life,
to a second
right?
life,
Yes.
correct. And that's where I think that's why it doesn't feel so right.
Yes,
lah.
okay, yeah.
Because-
I think that's where
yeah.
that's what I was talking about.
It starts to feel like wait, do you actually
Do you actually deserve
yeah,
this?
do you
right?
deserve
So like,
this?
are you? Is it your right?
it becomes
to actually
unfair
die?
already.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes unfair. That's why that's why it starts to become like, oh, okay, would I allow such a thing? And then, yeah, I mean, and then maybe like as you alluded to with the rich people walking around, 200-year-old rich people walking around, it's like, does that become a form of like social stratification? Yeah, just immortal rich people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then okay, and I think this is a fair way to bring in clothing, which is, and I'm gonna define clothing as if in the future we are able to grow the exact same body as you and transfer your consciousness across after you die. And I think it's similar in the sense that this is also a luxury lah. It's like you get to turn back the clock, or you get to come back to life through a different body, let's say. Yeah. And wow, the ethics of this is like, what's your ethical foundation for rejecting such a thing? Like, on what basis would you say this is not right? And I mean, I guess you could give the religious argument about the violation of natural order, and I mean, I'm quite sure that's why a lot of people resisted to medical advances like the 1900s, right? When people were, let's say the invention of the contraceptive pill, for example, where I'm pretty sure there was a lot of backlash because people were like, wait, you're kind of violating the natural order of things by preventing women from doing like what they were supposed to do, like what they're designed to do biologically, right? But over time you realize that actually this, I mean, as it got accepted and became mainstream use, the contraceptive pill actually did a lot for women lah, in the sense that it gave them time to decide, and it bettered their careers and things like that. So in some sense, I want to my point in raising this up is that I would want to not stay away, but not put so much emphasis on the argument from the natural order, as in, because you could end up improving people's lives from such a thing, despite the fact that it seems like a violation of the natural order. Yeah. So I mean, do you have any inkling of what ethical grounding you could use to oppose such a procedure, either resurrection or cloning? Yeah.
Okay. I think, okay, wait. Just to clarify, right? You say transfer of consciousness.
Yeah.
That means, are you using a surrogate body?
In some sense, yeah. But it's yours. It's exactly yours.
Oh, like with your DNA.
Yeah, a clone. It's a clone. It's a clone.
Okay. So basically, it's just reverse aging, but really quickly reverse aging into your prime.
Yeah. I mean, wherever you want to go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like resurrection with extra flexibility, right?
Or like resurrection plus.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Resurrection 2.0.
Yeah.
Because and the reason why I brought this up, right, is because earlier we outlined that if your life situation is bad, let's say your body is in shambles, or let's say your environment is bad, you wouldn't want to come back. But let's say you die 80, but I give you the option to now come back as 20 years old.
Right?
Does that change things? Does that change your decision now?
I think for me, sounds good to
Say
me.
less.
No, I think it's same. I honestly don't have. Okay, I feel like I don't have ethical opposition to it. But at the same time, I don't think it's possible. Not only because scientifically it's not, but I feel like from a religious understanding, I don't think okay.
I have a very interesting religious tangent, but yeah.
Though yeah, as in okay, sorry, this is not very secular, but I don't think God would allow humans that sort of freedom to choose, like to extend their life, to go back to their 20s. And I don't think we have barely scraped like the tip of the iceberg on like what encompasses consciousness, right? Like we know neurons fire and like the brain anatomy, but what is consciousness and like what makes you, you know, like the sum of all your neuron firings. It's so complex that I don't think. Yeah, but I think it's a very, very interesting, like, you know, like
it's
science
interesting.
fiction
It's very
kind
interesting.
of thing.
No, but what scares me is that even though like right now it seems conceptually impossible, you just never know. Like you never know like if in the future really, really is possible. I mean, look at this shit, dude. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure we didn't expect this to happen. Nobody expects death to be cured, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, wait. Okay, on the religious tangent, I really want to get to it, but I'll set aside just for now. The thing I want to bring up regarding this, the only, and I don't even think it's ethical. It's more of a preference kind of thing, which I would raise is, if you could do this procedure an infinite number of times, how many times would you do it? As in,
would you get bored of life?
I feel like it's more like when one person gets tired enough of life. But like,
correct.
I feel like eventually all of us will just feel a little bit jaded and a little bit just like sian. Like maybe it's time to go, right?
But so that's the thing. So having this knowledge from the very beginning, would you still think that like would you even resurrect the first time? Like because you know that like eventually it will become just like maybe a bit meaningless lah and mundane and something like that. So it's like now that you know that death actually provides some form of meaning, let's say, to what you do, will you respect it and then decide, okay, you know what, if I die, I die? That's
I mean, I think for me, like I've always quite strongly believed that death validates a lot of the things we do in life. In that, because we have a deadline, that we kind of feel like we need to accomplish certain things in a set amount of time. But things that when that deadline is never, I feel like there's no incentive to get your ass moving, right? Like if I know that, like if I can put this off for tomorrow, and there's absolutely no consequence, right? I can keep putting it off for tomorrow. Like it will make, let's say it makes no difference if I enter med school this year or next year or the year after, right? I think like eventually it's just like you kind of stagnate, and nothing happens, you know. And in some ways, I don't think we'll be very happy in that state either, right?
So I guess so. You're saying that is what makes life valuable.
it is.
And I think in many
it
ways,
is,
yes.
I agree.
And this is my only objection to resurrection. Yeah.
Would you? How about like maybe just like before we change topics, would you like pause, like suspend? Because there are people that are doing that.
Cryo freezer.
Like cryo freeze and then like have like let me come back in 100 years, then I'll like look at the world and like it's too bad, then like
Just die.
I'll do like I'll take my leave, man. I'm like, oh, it was fun, then like maybe I'll like.
Wait, but cryo freeze doesn't.
It's kind of like a time machine concept,
It's
right?
different.
Yeah. It's
It's not exactly like coming. It doesn't have anything to do with death. It's just pausing.
No, as in like they're dead, but what they do is
They're
that
dead.
they have died, but then it happens now, you know, like people die and then like very quickly after they die they have to freeze the whole body in hopes that in 200 years from now there will be a procedure to bring them back,
resurrect,
because like all the neurons are still intact and everything.
Wow. Oh, that's wow. Damn.
Okay, I think in that situation, you don't really have like much to lose.
No. I think you do because you don't know you're straight. Your body is straight up now in the hands of whoever decides to do whatever. With your body. Like, can you imagine if they, like maybe some super screwed up like organization takes control of these cryo frozen bodies?
Does it do army?
Yeah, either like then let's say
Yeah,
next
Like,
time
that was the worst thing you think of.
or some super rich trillionaire buys these bodies and then And then so from your perspective, you straight up just you died and you immediately woke up, and you're in this dude's like basement or on his wall, like maybe it's just your head. It's damn scary dude, because it's like you can't even, you're not around to make this decision for yourself.
Okay, yeah. Okay, wait, maybe we eliminate such a scenario and say like, in a very theoretically idealistic like Paul situation, you wake up in a controlled setting, and you realize someone you trust or some whatever, and you wake up and you're able to just like enter this new world and see if you can carry on with life, like, or just like at least just have a look, kind of know what I mean. But then again, it's also like if you don't like it, is there a way out kind of thing, right?
Yeah, correct. What do you do with it?
What do you do with it? Yeah, this sucks, right?
Yeah.
What do you do if you wake up like a Terminator universe and robots are running on us, right? It's like.
And yeah,
I wouldn't do it. Personally, I wouldn't do
same.
it. It scares the hell out of me.
It's too much unknown,
Yeah.
It's too much uncertainty. Yeah, dude, cryo freezing is scary. Yeah. Okay. Here's my religious tangent.
Please do.
Like, okay, and it's okay. This is like the most random hypothetical thing I've ever did, which is, let's say that the afterlife is real, and for some reason you can resurrect.
You pop in and say hello and you talk.
What happens if you resurrect having died? It's like you die, then you go to whatever afterlife there is, then you just come back. So does that imply that those two things cannot coexist? As in,
I think so.
yeah, it's like it's if you can come back to life, there is no afterlife, or if there is an afterlife, then you cannot.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think if you can systematically replicate resurrection, it means that.
Does it instantly disprove like Christianity?
No,
for
I
example?
think it does. I think it
Really?
does because the whole Christianity hangs on the resurrection of Jesus, right?
Oh yes, that's true.
And if you can replicate the resurrection of a human, that
It just trivializes.
Yeah,
trivializes and
yeah.
dilutes the miracle of resurrection, right?
That's true.
So I think that's why I was convinced that like it would not be possible in
Okay, but in some ways we also can't conceive the rules of the afterlife.
Yeah, correct.
Like that's my take on it. Like we don't know enough about the afterlife, if there is one, to like I mean, you're Christians, right? Like, isn't I don't know whether you all have like very set like rules about okay, what happens, what's the 5-step process of entering the gates of heaven, right?
No, I mean,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. So like, I think to me, I think I exited the church like damn long ago, but for me, I think we don't know enough to say for sure whether one will disprove the other. I don't know this.
Okay, but I think for Christianity we can quite safely say
Specific Christianity, I think it will.
Okay.
it
Yes.
will disprove Christianity.
Maybe not like if there is a different like afterlife, but yeah. No, but,
Because of the resurrection of Jesus, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And I mean the whole idea that like it's just judgment. I mean, how do you come back?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just doesn't make sense. Like, how do you come back from heaven? Then it's like the other thing is actually be a small game changer. Is purgatory. Like, purgatory is a form of afterlife that is like not heaven or hell.
Yes.
And then look, I mean, what does that say about like resuscitation? Like, if a person is flatlined, did he like go to heaven for like 10 seconds and come back?
Or did I go to purgatory and just
did he go to
Wait,
purgatory?
no, I think for resuscitation is brain activity though, because when the person's heart is flatlined, there is still brain activity for like.
Oh, okay.
So is it that only when
For like
you
that, like I
detect
think like
no
that,
brain
what, like
activity?
that, after 10 minutes, the brain is unsalvageable or something like that, right?
So I guess when there's still brain activity, you still say that he is on our physical
I
realm.
think yes. Okay, but then if you want to talk about like afterlife and everything, then it's not just the body, right? You have
The soul.
body, soul, and spirit, right? So
Okay, I know.
so that becomes a very but yeah. But I think for resuscitation, I think the person is still with us. Although sometimes people have
activity.
near death experiences.
Yeah,
And then
they see like some shit, right?
They see God and then they come back.
Yeah.
But
Damn, bro. That's crazy.
food for thought, but I guess yeah.
Or maybe going to heaven is just you see God. God says like, nah, time to go back down. And then
Wait,
go
what are you
back down.
doing here?
You guys resuscitated. I mean, oh, not resuscitated. I mean like resurrected. You know.
Yeah. Damn, dude.
And I find the argument of purgatory also kind of makes sense in this situation. Like, I mean, just to have an area, like kind of like a waiting room, right?
I realize a lot of religions would be disprove the resurrection, because even like Buddhism and
with the whole
Hinduism,
reincarnation thing.
reincarnation, right? So wait, what? So like, if you die, then you're reincarnated, but then so you exist.
So we like
Dually-
became a frog for a few days and just like came back.
The frog died and you came back into your body.
No, yeah. So I think resurrection will be a game changer. If it ever happens.
Yeah, actually though. I think we should watch closely. If you know, I think that I feel that if it were to happen, it would be in our lifetime. I think. I think so.
No, human resurrection, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think animal resurrection is possible.
Because this is impressive, but it's actually not even. They don't
Not
even.
close,
I don't think they even restore
The brain, right?
organ function.
I think brain is the most important.
I think like the cells were still intact probably. Then like they can revive the cells. Because I think after a while like the cells burst and everything. I don't think you can reconstruct the cell.
And I think we need a much better understanding
Yeah.
of the brain function and ability to.
I mean consciousness itself.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
essence.
I think if you want to talk about it biologically, right? We know a lot about biology, but no scientist right now can create a single cell by themselves.
Like synthetically.
Like from inorganic material.
Correct, or
Yeah.
even from organic material.
Okay, yeah.
Like you, I mean like obviously you can create a cell if you let it replicate, but like without that, like because I think you would need to have that technology to resurrect somebody after a few days of death, because all the cells would have been completely like destroyed, right? Like you need to find a way to reorganize the components into a cell, and then after that you have to figure out how do I reorganize these cells into tissues, and then yeah. So I think.
I mean, what about the cryo freeze?
I think we might have a better shot at reversing aging than resurrection. If you think about it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, as in, if you use the cryo freeze example, you freeze a person just as they are declared clinically dead.
Oh, then the cells are still.
Yeah, that's still intact.
Yeah, that's the idea, I think.
Yeah.
Like
Then
you
I just-
never enter like just keep your body just like entirely
Correct.
kind of living.
Not
I mean,
living,
no, not
but
living,
like-
but like
Preserve.
Intact.
yes,
Preserve.
intact. The body has started like completely just like decomposing and
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, it also makes sense, but I mean, you talked about curable and incurable death. Incurable death is probably just a body that cannot be put back together, lah, right? Or like a brain that's just too mushed up to. I mean, got flattened by a car, obviously, it's not coming back, lah. I don't know, but if he died of like heart attack, for example, I'm pretty sure like I mean, at least it's more possible. Not, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, medical advances are scary, dude. Like with the kind of things that could be done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of advancements in like the 1900s also very scary.
Exactly.
And now it's just like it's just about contraceptive pills. So I'm actually a bit scared about what we can achieve in the next 100 years, right? And maybe like in 100 years time, our grandkids, our great grandkids will think it's completely normal.
Yeah, it's like, hey, bro, you're gonna resurrect.
It's like
Bro, you're signing that resurrection ray waiver.
it's gonna be like you know Samsung 2077. Like just download your consciousness to a chip, and everyone has like a basically a USB port in the temple. And just slot it in and just